Beloved chosen one, heaven remembers the exact second when you let go. That holy moment when you finally whispered, "Not my will, but yours be done." The universe itself fell silent. Every angel paused mid-flight. Creation held its breath because surrender had just taken place on earth and heaven was watching. You didn't know it then, but the sound of your yes echoed through eternity. You were fighting battles that nobody saw. Weren't you smiling in public and bleeding in private, carrying the weight of what felt like endless disappointment? There were moments when you thought, "God, where are you?" Yet even in those moments of confusion, heaven was preparing a celebration, waiting for your heart to yield. The moment you surrendered was not weakness, it was warfare. That was the instant heaven's victory banner was raised over your name. Listen carefully. When you finally stopped running and turned back toward the light, every demon that tried to claim you was silenced. The grip of darkness loosened. The chains that had followed your bloodline began to crack. You didn't just choose God, you caused a shift in the spirit realm. Your decision was not small. It was history-making. Heaven had been waiting for that, yes. Angels stood by with crowns and garments of light, waiting for permission to pour them over you. God himself leaned close, whispering, "That one belongs to me." You didn't see it, but your tears became heaven's song. The same tears you thought were wasted watered the roots of your destiny. Chosen one, you must understand surrender is not the end. It is the beginning of divine power. You stepped into alignment with eternal design. When you said yes, every promise that had been delayed began to move. Doors you didn't even know existed started to unlock. Favor that had been withheld for years began to flow again. You became a living prophecy in motion. As was spoken in the sacred texts of old, in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 15, verse 7. There will be more rejoicing in heaven over one sinner who repents than over 99 righteous persons who do not need to repent. That is the sound that shook heaven the day you surrendered, a roar of rejoicing, the echo of eternal celebration. Heaven celebrated not because you were perfect, but because you chose to return. You didn't have to earn your way back. You simply opened your heart. That's what moves heaven, not performance, but repentance. Every angelic being rejoiced, not over your ability, but over your obedience. You didn't know it, but heaven threw a celebration with your name on the banner. And now, heaven's celebration continues. Each day you choose to obey. The music plays again. Each time you forgive instead of fight, surrender instead of resist, light instead of anger, heaven smiles once more. The celebration that began on that first day has not ended. It grows louder every time your will aligns with his. So, chosen one, take a deep breath. You are not late. You are not forgotten, so you are standing in the middle of a divine orchestration. Heaven has not stopped singing your name. The same God who called you back will carry you forward. The same grace that found you will keep you. Let this truth settle into your soul. Your surrender was not a random moment. It was written into eternity before you were even born. When you said yes, heaven recorded it. Your name was declared in light. The book of destiny turned to a new page, the page that begins with victory. Now, if this message has stirred your spirit, let your agreement be known. Tap the like, share this light with another soul who needs to hear it, and comment the number 777 below, a prophetic act of completion and divine alignment. And if you haven't yet, subscribe and stay connected to this river of revelation. Heaven is still celebrating, and the story of your surrender has just begun. You remember the battle before the breakthrough, don't you? Chosen one. The war that wasn't fought in the open but in the hidden chambers of your heart. It wasn't with people, and it wasn't with circumstance, it was with your own will, your fears, your pride, and the invisible darkness that tried to keep you from surrendering. Nights when you couldn't sleep, days when you carried the smile but felt like collapsing inside. You were fighting for something you couldn't name: peace, maybe, or freedom. What you didn't realize was that the struggle itself was proof you were near the edge of divine breakthrough. You were caught in that in-between, the place where your spirit longed for God, but your flesh wanted to hold on. You tried to fix everything by yourself. You tried to make sense of chaos with human strength. And when the voices of doubt grew louder, you almost believed them. They whispered, "You're not enough. You'll never change. God's tired of you." But even then, heaven had already sent reinforcements. You didn't see them, but angels surrounded you in silence. The war was never just about your emotions, it was a spiritual war over your destiny. There were nights when you cried out, "God, I don't understand why this hurts so much." And heaven whispered back, "Because you are being refined. You were being stripped of the illusions that once made you feel strong so that only truth could remain." That's why everything started to fall apart. It wasn't punishment. It was purification. The fight inside you wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to bring you to surrender. Every argument with yourself, every tear shed in confusion, was heaven's way of breaking what needed to break. The more you fought, the more God was showing you that your strength wasn't enough, and that was never meant as shame. It was mercy, because if you could fix it all alone, you would never know the sweetness of being rescued. You might not have known it, but heaven had been watching the entire time. The angels saw every tear that hit your pillow. They saw the nights you wanted to give up but didn't. The heavens kept count of every time you prayed, "Lord, I still trust you," even when trust felt like a whisper in the storm. As the apostle reminds us in his letter to the Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 12, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." That scripture is not a warning, it's a revelation. It tells you that the chaos you felt was never random. It was a sign that something holy was being fought for. When the enemy realized that you were destined for light, he tried to exhaust you with confusion. He wanted you to believe that surrender meant defeat. But in truth, surrender is the strategy of heaven. The moment you stopped fighting with your own hands, God's hands began to move. The darkness knew it had lost the moment you dropped your sword and lifted your heart. The battlefield of your soul has now become sacred ground. Every scar you carry from that season is not a mark of shame, but of victory. You survived what was designed to destroy you. And more than survive, you emerged stronger, softer, wiser, anchored in truth. What once terrified you now trembles before you. The fight taught you something priceless. The enemy cannot defeat a surrendered heart. You learned that real power is not in control, but in trust. And now, every time you feel the war begin again, you know what to do. Not resist the refining, but embrace it. Because the battle before the breakthrough is never wasted. It's the proving ground of the chosen. Heaven looked upon your struggle and did not see failure. Heaven saw transformation. The very war that almost broke you became the furnace where your faith was forged. Now, when you walk, hell recognizes your scars and trembles because you carry the evidence of a soul that did not quit. So lift your head, chosen one. You have fought, you have wept, and yet here you stand. The war before surrender was the proof that you were being prepared for glory. Chosen one, There was a moment when heaven interrupted your path not gently, but divinely, deliberately. It wasn't coincidence that your plans fell apart. It wasn't bad luck when doors you prayed for refused to open. It was divine interference. Heaven's hand stepping into your timeline to prevent a disaster you couldn't see. Sometimes God's mercy doesn't look like favor, it looks like frustration. He stops what you thought was right because he sees what you cannot. You thought you were losing direction, but heaven was redrawing your map. Every delay, every detour, every closed opportunity was an act of protection. You cried, "God, why does everything I touch fall apart?" But he answered, "Because what you were building wasn't meant to last." You were constructing temporary comfort when God was preparing eternal impact. You see, chosen one, divine interruption is not punishment, it is positioning. God didn't stop your plans to hurt you, he stopped them to redirect you. When the door slammed, heaven wasn't rejecting you, heaven was preserving you for something higher. There are things that looked like loss but were really rescue missions from the throne room. Remember how that one relationship ended unexpectedly, or how that opportunity you prayed for never materialized. You questioned God, felt abandoned, maybe even angry. But now, with distance, you can see the fingerprints of divine orchestration. What broke your heart then saved your purpose later. What disappointed you protected your destiny. You were being rerouted by a Father who loves too deeply to let you walk off a cliff, according to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 9. A man's heart plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. Those words are not poetic comfort. They are the law of divine movement. God lets you plan so that he can redirect. He allows your human will to dream, but he aligns it with his eternal design. Every time heaven interrupts, it's because something sacred must be preserved. You might lose what you wanted, but you'll never lose what you were made for. Divine interruption doesn't end destiny, it activates it. It's heaven saying, "I'm not letting you settle for less than what I wrote for you." When your plans crumble, it's easy to assume you failed. But failure is often just the shadow of protection. You didn't fail, you were rescued. You didn't lose control, you were led. You didn't fall apart, you were being rebuilt according to heaven's blueprint. Many of the people who misunderstand you right now don't see that God's hand is moving behind the curtain. They see endings, heaven sees beginnings. They see loss, heaven sees construction. You see silence. Heaven hears the sound of foundation stones being laid for something greater. So the next time life interrupts you, don't panic, pause. Ask, "God, what are you saving me from?" You'll often find that his no is actually his better yes. His delay is not denial but preparation. His silence is not distance but strategy. You were never meant to live by logic alone. You were designed to live by divine leading. When heaven interrupts your routine, it is summoning you into a realm beyond control, a place where miracles dwell. Divine interruption is heaven saying, "I trust you enough to change your direction." It takes courage to stop fighting God's redirections. You've learned that the hard way, but every time you surrender, every time you release control, peace follows. That peace is heaven's confirmation that you are exactly where you're meant to be. So today, remember God's interruptions are proof that you are worth protecting. You're not being delayed. You're being developed. You're not being ignored. You're being invited into a story that will outlive you. Every detour is a doorway. Every closed door is divine choreography. Now take this moment and declare it out loud, a prophetic act that aligns your words with heaven's truth. Comment, "Lead me." Lord, let those 3 words be your prayer and your proclamation. When you type them, You're not just responding to a message, you're saying to heaven, I trust your redirection more than my own understanding. You are choosing to walk not by sight, but by surrender. And every time you do, heaven writes another line in your story of divine interruption turned into destiny. Chosen one, there was a night when grace found you, not when you were strong, not when you were holy, but when you were broken beyond repair. Grace walked into the wreckage of your life, uninvited yet unstoppable. It didn't wait for you to clean up first. It met you in the middle of your chaos. You didn't earn it. You didn't deserve it. Yet it came running like light breaking through the thickest storm. You see, grace doesn't knock politely. It breaks through the walls that shame built and whispers, You're still mine. It's the language heaven speaks when you've lost the words to pray. It's the presence that sits beside you when you think everyone else has left. Grace does not argue your case, it simply rewrites it. It takes the evidence of your past and stamps across it in bold letters, forgiven. There was a time when you believed your mistakes disqualified you, when you thought the things you did made you untouchable by God. But grace doesn't see what you did. It sees who you are becoming. It saw the ashes and envisioned beauty. It saw the failure and envisioned a testimony. It looked at the broken pieces of your heart and said, Perfect, I can work with this. When grace found you, heaven didn't hesitate. Angels moved, chains broke, and something deep inside you began to stir again. You might not have noticed it right away, but something shifted. The weight began to lift, the air around you changed, and you felt something unfamiliar, hope. That's the first sign that grace has entered the room. Hope always comes with it. The ancient words recorded in the book of Romans, chapter 5, verse 20 declare where sin increased, grace increased all the more. Those words are not just theology, they are your biography. The darker your past, the brighter grace decided to shine. The greater the mess, the more extravagant God's mercy became. Grace is not intimidated by your mistakes, it is attracted to them. Because where you see failure, God sees opportunity for redemption. Grace found you when guilt was screaming louder than faith. It silenced every accusation and reminded your soul of something eternal: you are loved beyond measure. And that love did not start the moment you said yes to God. It began before the world itself began. You were chosen in love, and grace was the promise that would always find its way back to you, no matter how far you ran. You might still carry scars from that season, but grace transforms scars into signatures, proof that you've been touched by heaven. The pain you went through is no longer a symbol of shame, but a seal of survival. Grace doesn't erase your past, it redeems it. It turns your lowest valleys into training grounds for compassion. It turns every tear into testimony. There are people who will look at you and only see who you were. Let them. Because heaven sees who you are now, a vessel of mercy, a living witness that God's love can resurrect anything. Grace has made you into a message. Without saying a word, your life now preaches redemption. Every step you take is a sermon of second chances. Do you remember that one moment, that quiet realization when you said, maybe God hasn't given up on me after all? That was grace whispering through the noise. It wasn't coincidence that the right word, the right song, the right message found you exactly when you were about to give up. Grace has a perfect sense of timing. It always arrives 1 second before destruction. And since that day, grace has not stopped working. It's been rewriting your patterns, cleansing your motives, and awakening your purpose. Sometimes it confronts, sometimes it comforts, but it never leaves. It is relentless. Grace follows you into rooms you thought were off limits, into days when you feel unworthy, into moments when you still stumble. Because the goal of grace is not perfection, it is transformation. Chosen one, let this truth sink deep. Grace is not fragile. You can't break it. You can't outrun it. You can't outsin it. The same grace that found you will keep you, guide you, and finish what it started. You are no longer who you were. You are living proof that when grace finds someone, darkness loses forever. Chosen one, if only you could have seen what heaven saw the moment you surrendered, the thunderous celebration that erupted beyond the veil of the natural world. The sound was not like anything on earth. It wasn't just music, it was movement. The entire realm of glory vibrated with joy as your name was spoken aloud. Angels who had warred for your soul shouted in victory, and the light of heaven rippled like waves through eternity. You might have felt alone that day. Maybe you were sitting in silence. Maybe tears ran down your face. But in heaven, there was no silence. Every angel knew your name. Trumpets were sounded. The same God who created galaxies paused to rejoice over one decision: your surrender. Think about that. The creator of the universe celebrated you. The sound of heaven's rejoicing wasn't polite applause. It was thunderous. It was the roar of eternity saying, "This one has returned." Every scar you carried became a lyric in heaven's song. Every tear became an instrument of praise. The moment you said yes, the atmosphere of eternity changed. Your name became a melody that still plays in the courts of heaven. The prophet Zephaniah once revealed this mystery. It is written in the book of Zephaniah, chapter 3, verse 17. "The Lord your God is with you, the mighty warrior who saves. He will take great delight in you. In his love he will no longer rebuke you, but will rejoice over you with singing." Can you imagine that? Chosen one. The voice that spoke the stars into existence sings over you. Heaven does not celebrate achievements the way earth does. It doesn't wait for perfection. It celebrates obedience. You didn't have to earn this joy, you simply had to return home. When heaven rejoices, it's not because you've done everything right, but because you finally aligned with the reason you exist. That's what your surrender meant. Heaven's joy was restored through your yes. You might think your story is small, but heaven never measures size, only obedience. You might think, "I'm just one person." But to heaven, that one person was worth the blood of Christ, worth the silence of angels on the cross, worth every ounce of redemption poured out through history. You were worth the celebration. And here's the mystery: that celebration hasn't stopped. Every time you choose to walk in light instead of darkness, the song rises again. Every time you forgive when it's hardest, the music swells. Every act of obedience replays the symphony that began the day you surrendered. You live under an open heaven, and the sound of that rejoicing still lingers over your life. Chosen one. Pause and let that truth settle in. Heaven doesn't merely tolerate you, heaven delights in you. The Father's joy is not conditional, it's covenantal. It's bound to the promise that no one can snatch you from his hand. You are celebrated, not tolerated. You are cherished, not merely accepted. So the next time you doubt your worth, remember this: the same God who commands angels to guard galaxies rejoices over you like a parent watching their child take their first step. That is how precious your surrender was. You caused heaven to sing. And if you ever wonder why you feel the pull to worship, it's because your spirit remembers that song. Somewhere deep inside you, the echo of heaven's celebration still hums quietly. Every time you lift your hands in worship or whisper a prayer, you are joining in that eternal melody again. Let this truth change the way you see yourself, not as one trying to earn love, but as one already loved beyond comprehension. You walk under a heaven that dances when you obey. You are living proof that redemption still makes heaven sing. And if this message has reminded you of how deeply heaven rejoiced over you, take a quiet moment to share that light forward. Click like, not for me, but as a gesture that says, Yes, I remember heaven's joy. Share this message with someone who's forgotten their worth. And if you haven't yet, subscribe not out of routine, but to stay connected to words that call you higher, closer, and deeper into the sound of heaven. Because somewhere above you, even now, the music continues and every beat still carries your name. Chosen one. Something holy happened when you reached the altar, the moment when you decided to lay everything down. You came carrying weight that felt unbearable: guilt, disappointment, memories that haunted your rest. You weren't even sure what surrender looked like anymore, but your soul whispered, "God, take it all." That whisper became your offering, and heaven received it as worship. The altar is not just a wooden structure or a church moment, it's a sacred transaction point. It's where humanity meets divinity. You came with pain, and God came with promise. You came with brokenness, and God came with beauty. You came with confusion, and He placed peace in your hands. The exchange was invisible to the eye, but thunderous in the spirit. Heaven watched as you knelt in surrender. Angels stood in awe because they knew what was being traded: ashes for glory, sorrow for joy, fear for faith. You didn't walk away empty. Something eternal shifted that day. God did not just remove your burdens. He replaced them with a mantle of purpose. What was once heaviness became holy responsibility. You might not have felt the transformation instantly, but it began. Slowly, quietly, heaven started rearranging your heart. The bitterness that once lived there began to dissolve. The shame that clung to you began to fall away. You began to breathe again, not the shallow breath of survival, but the deep breath of someone finally free. As Jesus Himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 11, verses 28 to 29, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls." Those words are not an invitation of convenience. They are a divine decree. The moment you came, that promise became yours. You gave God what He wanted most: your heart, and in return, He gave you what you needed most: peace. Not temporary peace that depends on circumstances, but eternal peace that withstands the storm. You may have walked into that altar trembling, but you walked away transformed. That's the mystery of surrender. What you release doesn't disappear. It multiplies into something greater. You laid down your plans and heaven handed you purpose. You surrendered your timing and God gave you alignment. You let go of the person you thought you needed to be, and God revealed who you truly are. That's the divine exchange: your weakness for His strength, your uncertainty for His clarity, your fear for His faithfulness. The altar moment may have been quiet, but its impact still ripples through your days. Each time you pray, each time you forgive, each time you choose peace over pride, you are living proof that the exchange still stands. Heaven doesn't forget an altar moment. It becomes a permanent marker in your spiritual story, a sacred timestamp in eternity's record. And do you know what's even more powerful? God didn't just meet you there once, He keeps meeting you there daily. Every time you pause and say, "Lord, I surrender again," the exchange continues. The altar follows you now. It's no longer a place, it's your posture. Wherever you go, heaven recognizes that surrendered heart and moves accordingly. Chosen one, don't underestimate the power of what happened there. You may not have felt fireworks, but heaven saw a coronation. That altar became the place where your old self was buried and your destiny was awakened. It was not a moment of loss, it was a moment of multiplication. Let this truth settle in your spirit. God never asks you to lay something down unless He plans to give something greater in return. Every surrender is an investment in eternity. Every letting go is a divine transaction that yields peace, wisdom, and strength in overflow. And now, as a prophetic act of remembrance, seal this truth with your own declaration. Comment the number 888 below, a symbol of new beginnings and divine abundance. When you do, let it be more than digits on a screen. Let it be a testimony that you have stepped into the exchange of heaven. You're not who you were before the altar. You are lighter, stronger, freer, a living witness of divine trade between earth and eternity. Chosen one, the day you surrendered, something invisible yet undeniable happened. You were marked by light, not a light that fades with time or dimmed by failure, but a light that is eternal, divine, and unshakable. Heaven placed a seal on you that darkness can recognize from miles away. It is the mark of one who belongs to God, the mark of one who carries glory in fragile skin. You may not see it in the mirror, but the spirit realm knows it's there. When you walk into a room, atmospheres shift, not because of who you are in flesh, but because of who you carry within. That is why certain people couldn't stay. That is why environments that once felt comfortable suddenly felt heavy. Light and darkness cannot coexist, and once heaven's mark is on you, anything that doesn't align with light begins to fall away. At first, you didn't understand it. You wondered why you felt so different, why the same conversations, the same circles, the same old habits no longer satisfied you. But what you didn't realize was that heaven had upgraded your spiritual frequency. You were no longer tuned to the noise of the world. You were now attuned to the whispers of eternity. Being marked by light means that you now carry divine recognition. You are known in heaven, celebrated by angels, feared by demons. Hell knows your name, not because of who you used to be, but because of who you've become. You are a walking testimony that darkness cannot win. Your very existence declares the victory of light. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14, "You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden." That verse is not symbolic, it is identity. The moment you surrendered, God declared this truth over you, Kasait. You became a city of light, visible, radiant, undeniable. The enemy may try to dim it, but he cannot destroy it. Being marked by light doesn't mean the absence of darkness around you. It means darkness no longer owns you. You still walk through valleys, still face shadows, but the difference is this: you carry illumination. You walk through the dark, yet the dark cannot walk through you. That's why people are drawn to you without knowing why. They sense something unearthly, something holy, the reflection of divine light living within you. But with that light comes responsibility. Light exposes, light reveals, light leads. You were not given light just to feel safe. You were given light to guide others home. There are people wandering in shadows right now who will find direction simply by watching you walk in faith. Every word of kindness, every act of obedience, every moment you choose truth over compromise, these are rays of light piercing through someone else's night. And yes, being marked by light can make you misunderstood. There will be those who resist it, who feel uncomfortable in your presence, not because you've done anything wrong, but because conviction travels with you. The brightness you carry confronts the shadows in others. But do not dim yourself to be accepted. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to blaze. Remember this, chosen one. Your light is not fragile. It is not dependent on mood or circumstance. It flows from the eternal flame of the Spirit within you. Even when you feel weary, Even when the world grows dark, the mark of light remains unbroken. It does not flicker. It shines through tears, through confusion, through battle. It is your birthright as one chosen by heaven. You have been anointed to be a lighthouse in a stormy sea, not perfect, but positioned. Every trial you've survived has made your glow stronger. Every heartbreak has refined your radiance. Every time you refused to quit, your light intensified. That's why the enemy couldn't destroy you, because what burns inside you was not lit by man and therefore cannot be extinguished by man. So stand tall, chosen one. You are not dimmed. You are destined. You are not overlooked. You are illuminated. Heaven's seal upon you is eternal proof that the light wins always. Carry that light boldly, knowing it's not yours to hide, but heaven's to display. You are the living evidence that even in a world of shadows, divine light still finds its way home. Chosen one, when you surrendered, something far greater than emotion or confession took place. A shift happened not only around you, but within you and beyond you. The atmosphere in the spirit realm trembled. What was once bound began to loosen. What had stood for generations began to break. Your obedience became a key that unlocked not just your own freedom, but freedom for those connected to your bloodline. This is the mystery of surrender. It echoes. It doesn't stop with you. When one heart bows before God, heaven's power flows through time itself, rewriting stories, undoing curses, and opening pathways that were closed for centuries. You didn't just say yes for yourself, you said yes for your family, for your future, for the generations yet to come. The moment you surrendered, hell panicked. The forces that had claimed authority over your lineage felt the shift instantly. They saw the mark of covenant appear on your spirit and knew they had lost legal ground. The same battles that tormented your parents, the same patterns that tried to repeat in you, they were interrupted. Heaven declared, it ends here. That's why, in the days that followed your surrender, it felt like chaos erupted. You might have thought, why are things getting harder now? But that wasn't punishment, that was warfare. Hell always reacts when heaven advances. The trembling you felt wasn't destruction, it was displacement. Darkness was losing its foothold, and the enemy knew it, as it is written through the words of James, chapter 4, verse 7. Submit yourselves, then, to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Those words describe exactly what happened. Submission is not weakness, it is warfare. The moment you bowed before God, the enemy had to bow in defeat. Your surrender wasn't passive, it was powerful. It triggered a divine reaction that scattered darkness like lightning splits the sky. You might never fully grasp the scale of that moment. Angels moved at the sound of your yes. Generational strongholds trembled and began to crumble. Places in the spirit that were once sealed were reopened. The weight of oppression that sat on your bloodline for decades began to lift. You became the interruption, the one heaven chose to shift everything that came before. This is why your life feels different now. You are walking in a new atmosphere. The old cycles cannot claim you anymore. You have stepped into territory that was promised but never possessed. Heaven calls you a breaker, one who ushers light into places that have long been captive to shadow. You are walking proof that obedience carries authority. When God finds a surrendered vessel, the spirit realm notices. Angels are activated to assist you, and demonic forces are ordered to retreat. That's why certain temptations suddenly lost their power. That's why the fear that used to paralyze you no longer controls you. The moment you said yes, the hierarchy of the unseen shifted in your favor. And now, everywhere you go, that same authority follows you. You carry the sound of victory in your spirit, the sound that hell remembers. The enemy no longer sees a confused or broken soul. He sees one crowned with obedience. You have become dangerous to darkness, not because of your strength, but because of your surrender. The shift that began in you is still unfolding. There are blessings that will manifest years from now. Blessings connected directly to that single moment of obedience. Some of the freedom your children and grandchildren will walk in traces back to your decision to bow. Your surrender has ripple effects that stretch far beyond your lifetime. Chosen one, understand this obedience doesn't always look powerful to the world. It often looks quiet, humble, unseen, but in the spirit, it's thunder. Each time you choose to obey, heaven moves and hell trembles. Every yes you whisper is another earthquake in the kingdom of darkness. So walk forward boldly, knowing that every step you take carries authority. The battles may still come, but you now fight from victory, not for it. You are not bound to your past, you are rewriting it. You are not haunted by old chains, you are breaking them for others. The shift in the spirit realm is real, and it began with your surrender. Chosen one, there was a sacred moment when you rose not just from pain, but from death itself. You didn't realize it then, but you were walking out of your own grave. The place that once held you captive, the chains that once defined you, the silence that once drowned your hope, all of it lost power the day you stood up and walked toward life. Heaven had been waiting for that moment, the instant when resurrection power would move through your spirit and announce, "The grave is empty." You were never meant to stay buried. The tomb you found yourself in was not your destination. It was your transition. God allowed the darkness of that season not to punish you, but to prove His glory through you. You thought it was over, yet heaven was only beginning. Every grave moment was preparation for resurrection. Every tear watered the soil that would soon bring forth new life. When you stood, something eternal shifted. You didn't just come out of the grave, you carried authority over it. What once had the power to bury you now bows beneath your feet. You carry the scent of resurrection, the fragrance of one who has met death and defeated it through grace. That's why certain people from your past can no longer recognize you. They're still looking for the old version of you that no longer exists. Scripture says in the Gospel of John, chapter 11, verse 25, Jesus said to her, "I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live, even though they die." Those words echo through your story. You didn't just believe in resurrection, you became a living example of it. The power that raised Christ from the dead is now the same power that breathes through you. When you walked out of the grave, heaven recorded it as a victory. Angels rejoiced, and even the earth itself recognized the shift. You may not have seen it, but spiritual doors opened. The curses that tried to bury you lost their grip. What once broke you has now become your testimony. You carry scars, yes, but they are not marks of shame. They are proof that grace works, that death does not win, and that light always returns. The grave could not hold you because God had already written your next chapter. You are walking in resurrection rhythm now, moving to the heartbeat of heaven itself. Every time you rise from disappointment, every time you choose hope again, you are living that same miracle. The same spirit that rolled away the stone from Christ's tomb is rolling away every obstacle that tried to block your destiny. And yet, resurrection comes with revelation. It shows you who truly stands with you and who only loved you when you were buried. Some celebrated your brokenness but couldn't handle your restoration. That's okay. Not everyone is meant to witness your rising. The ones who doubted you will soon have to watch you walk in the fullness of what God promised. Chosen one, You are proof that God still raises the dead, not just bodies, but dreams, faith, and destinies. You've been through darkness, but now you carry dawn in your soul. You faced endings, but now you are a living beginning. The grave was necessary, for it proved the power within you, and the same God who called Lazarus by name called you, and when he did, death had no choice but to release you. Now, as you walk in this newness of life, remember what it cost. Remember what it felt like to suffocate in silence, and let that memory fuel your compassion. Reach for others who are still in their graves. Remind them that resurrection isn't a story, it's a person, and that person lives within them too. And right here, as an act of faith, make this declaration visible to heaven and to every force that once tried to bury you. Comment, "I rise again." Let it be more than words, let it be prophecy. Let the entire realm of darkness see that you will not return to the grave. You have risen, you have overcome, and your life now sings the anthem of resurrection. The tomb is behind you, and the light ahead will never fade. Chosen one. Glory rarely announces itself with lightning or trumpets. It settles quietly, like dawn over the mountains, revealing its brilliance one soft ray at a time. You didn't even notice when it first touched you, the moment you said yes to God's plan. His glory began weaving itself into your life thread by thread, breath by breath, until you became a living tapestry of heaven's story. You carry it now, this invisible light. Sometimes it feels warm, sometimes it feels weighty. It's the sacred gravity that draws you toward destiny. You are walking under a mantle that few can see, but every soul can feel. That's why your presence brings peace in chaos. You don't just enter a room, you shift its atmosphere. You carry the aroma of heaven, the calm before miracles. But carrying glory is not easy. It's like holding a lamp through a storm. The wind tries to extinguish it. The rain tries to drown it. Yet your flame keeps burning. Why? Because it's not fueled by you, it's fueled by grace. You were chosen to carry fire that cannot be quenched. That's what the enemy fears most, not your strength, but the light you refuse to let die. As the apostle wrote in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 17, "For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all." Do you hear it? The word eternal, meaning this glory won't fade when seasons change. What you carry now will echo long after your footsteps are gone. The weight you feel is not punishment. It's purpose pressing its way to the surface. The weight of glory is like the weight of rain before harvest. The clouds grow heavy, not to threaten, but to release blessing. That's why life has felt dense lately. It's the buildup before divine release. Every tear you've sown has been gathering into clouds of promise. Soon they will pour, not as storms of sorrow, but as showers of restoration. You are not carrying glory for decoration. You are carrying it for distribution. You are a vessel, a torch, a mirror. Glory doesn't stay where it's hoarded, it grows where it's given. Every time you love someone who feels unlovable, you are releasing a fragment of heaven's fire. Every time you forgive or speak truth or give generously, the glory expands. Sometimes you'll feel misunderstood, even isolated, because few can carry what you do. But don't resent the solitude. It's where God polishes his vessels. Diamonds don't shine in crowds, they form in pressure, in darkness, in hidden places. The same fire that refines gold is refining you now. And as you carry this glory forward, let your life become a lantern others can follow. There are weary hearts wandering through fog, searching for light. You may never know their names, but they will find direction through your radiance. You are not just surviving, you are guiding. Every step you take leaves a glimmer behind for someone else to follow home. Chosen one, if this message has resonated with your spirit, let your heart respond with gratitude. Tap like not out of routine, but as an offering of light, a small reflection saying, I recognize the glory within me. Share this word with someone walking through shadow. Maybe they've forgotten the sound of hope, and your simple act could reignite their flame. Subscribe if these messages breathe strength into your days, because connection keeps the fire from fading. Like embers gathered together, we burn brighter in unity than we ever could alone. And if you feel led, consider sowing a seed not as a transaction, but as participation. When you give, you're not funding a message, you're fueling a mission. Every donation becomes another spark sent out into the dark. Another voice, another video, another life reached. Your generosity becomes oil poured back into the lamp of purpose, keeping it burning for those who still wander in night. Because glory, when shared, multiplies. Light never lessens. When divided, it doubles. And so every click, every share, every gift is another candle lit in a world desperate for dawn. Carry your glory well. Chosen one, walk gently, shine boldly, and never forget the weight you feel today is proof that heaven trusts you with tomorrow's light. Chosen one, the cost of your calling has never been small. You've learned that divine purpose comes wrapped in paradox, joy, and ache woven together in the same breath. When you said yes to God's plan, heaven applauded, but the earth began to test the truth of that yes. You entered a sacred classroom where obedience is proven not by words but by endurance. You've discovered that anointing is not an ornament. It's armor forged through trials. Every disappointment has been a hammer striking metal, shaping your soul into something that can withstand weight. The moments you thought were losses were actually lessons. The tears you thought were weakness became water for the seed of your destiny. You didn't know it, but each night you wept alone. Heaven was measuring your faith not by what you said, but by how you stayed. There were times you asked, "Why does it have to be this hard?" Heaven whispered, "Because precious things are not found on the surface. Diamonds are formed under pressure, gold is refined by fire, and faith is purified through trial." The call upon your life could never be lightweight, because the purpose attached to you reaches too far. God's hand has been sculpting you for endurance, not ease. You've seen how calling isolates. It separates the vessel before it sends the voice. There were seasons when friends didn't understand you, when people misread your silence as pride, when you tried to explain what you carried and found no language for it. That loneliness was not rejection, it was preparation. Heaven was drawing you closer, pulling you away from the noise so that you could learn the rhythm of God's heartbeat. You've walked through storms that left others shipwrecked, yet somehow you survived. Not because you were stronger, but because grace refused to let go. Each battle has peeled away layers of self until only trust remained. That's the hidden cost to carry glory. You must first lose control. The altar demanded everything, your plans, your expectations, even your understanding, and still you came back to say, "Yes, Lord." There were nights when doubt tried to whisper that maybe you heard wrong, that maybe you were never called at all. But even in silence, God was still speaking. The absence of feeling did not mean the absence of His hand. He was teaching you to walk by faith, not emotion, to trust the unseen when the seen made no sense. Every unanswered prayer became a training ground for unwavering belief, as it is written in the first letter of Peter, chapter 1, verse 7. That the trial of your faith, being much more precious than gold that perishes, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Jesus Christ. This is what your refining has been about, faith that will shine when everything else fades. And now, look at you. You are still standing. The winds blew, the fire raged, yet you did not vanish. What the enemy meant to break you, heaven used to build you. You have become something the darkness cannot easily touch, a vessel tempered by flame, unafraid of the heat because you've learned who walks with you in it. You've also learned that the cost never truly ends. It only deepens. Every new level of purpose invites a new level of surrender. But you've stopped fearing the fire, haven't you? Because you've seen what it produces. You've seen how pain sharpens compassion, how waiting births wisdom, how wounds make room for wonder. Chosen one, you are walking proof that obedience is worth every price. The path may be narrow, but it is sacred. You carry something unbreakable now, faith that has survived both glory and grief. You've learned that true victory doesn't always look like triumph. Sometimes it looks like endurance, quiet and steady, eyes fixed on heaven. And though you may still feel the cost pressing against your ribs, know this: it is the sound of purpose expanding inside you. The fire has not come to consume you, it has come to confirm you. You are no longer just called, you are chosen, refined, and ready. Chosen one. You remember that moment when you almost turned back, don't you? When the weight of obedience felt heavier than the promise it carried. You were walking forward, yet everything around you seemed to fall apart. The silence of heaven felt deafening, and the road ahead looked too long, too lonely. You thought, maybe I misheard God. Maybe I'm not strong enough for this. But what you didn't see then was that heaven was closer than ever. God wasn't absent, He was anchoring you. Every step you took in confusion was still faith in motion. Every tear you cried became language in heaven's courtroom, declaring your perseverance before witnesses unseen. You were tempted to quit, but your spirit remembered something your mind forgot the day heaven celebrated your surrender. You see, the closer you get to breakthrough, the louder the temptation becomes to retreat. Hell always sends its fiercest storm right before divine arrival. It's not coincidence, it's strategy. The enemy cannot stop the promise, so he tries to stop your perseverance. He whispers lies wrapped in logic, saying, "You've waited too long, you've lost too much, just turn back." But every time you refused, heaven recorded it as victory. There was a night when your strength ran out completely. You sat there, exhausted, no prayers left, no words to give. And yet, in the middle of that stillness, something holy happened. Peace arrived, not the kind the world gives, but a still, quiet knowing that said, "You're not finished yet." That peace was proof that you were still seen, still chosen, still carried, as it is written in the book of Galatians chapter 6, verse 9. "And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap, if we faint not." Those words are not theory, they are prophecy. They remind you that heaven counts persistence as worship. Every time you stood when you wanted to fall, you were preaching without words. Every time you chose hope over bitterness, angels took notice. God never promised an easy road. He promised a faithful presence. The silence you feared wasn't rejection, it was training. You were being taught to walk by trust, not by sight. You were being shaped into someone who could hold blessing without being broken by it. Every delay was maturity disguised as disappointment. Chosen one. Remember, turning back would have only taken you to a version of yourself that no longer exists. You've grown too much to fit back into the old cage. The doors behind you are closed for a reason, not because God is cruel, but because heaven refuses to let you live small again. The wilderness you walked through wasn't wasted, It built strength you'll soon need for the promise ahead. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is simply not quit. That's what heaven saw when you stayed. You may have been trembling, questioning, even doubting, but you didn't let go. That's faith, not loud, not flashy, but steadfast. You became the living definition of endurance, a testimony that real strength is often silent. And now, look at what's happened because you stayed. The storms didn't destroy you, they refined you. The isolation didn't crush you, it revealed your authenticity. You've become the kind of believer hell fears, not because you're perfect, but because you persevere. You've learned that faith is not about never falling, it's about refusing to stay down. So today, if the journey still feels long, let this truth echo through your soul. The same God who carried you this far will not abandon you now. You didn't come this far by chance. You came this far by covenant. Heaven hasn't forgotten you. Your endurance is prophecy in motion, and your yes still echoes through eternity. As a prophetic act of agreement, seal this truth today. Comment the number 4404, a symbol of divine alignment and angelic protection. When you do, let it not be routine but remembrance. You are declaring, I will not turn back. I am aligned with heaven's will. Every digit you type becomes a declaration to the unseen realm that you are still standing, still believing, still chosen. Because chosen one, the same heaven that celebrated your surrender is now watching your perseverance and preparing to crown it. Chosen one. The fire came not to consume you, but to reveal what was always hidden within you. It was never meant to destroy. It was meant to refine. Every trial, every loss, every betrayal was a divine furnace designed to burn away what could not last. You thought the flames were punishment, but heaven knew they were purification. What you mistook for ending was actually refining the holy process that separates gold from dross, truth from illusion, eternal from temporary. You see, fire has always been part of the journey of the chosen. It's the ancient language of transformation. It purifies, it clarifies, it exposes. It's where faith either melts or becomes indestructible. You stood in that fire, trembling, confused, uncertain, wondering if anything would remain when it was over. Yet now, look at you still standing, still glowing. The same heat that others feared became the very thing that forged your strength. There were seasons when the fire surrounded you on all sides. People misunderstood your process, assuming you were being punished or abandoned. They saw the smoke but not the purpose. Only heaven knew what was happening, the refining of a vessel chosen for glory. And while they questioned, heaven watched with awe as you stayed in the flames instead of running from them. That decision alone became your transformation. You learned that pain has a voice, but so does purpose. When you chose to listen to purpose instead of pain, everything began to change. The fire stripped away your need for validation. It burned off the fear of rejection. It exposed what was weak, but it also unveiled what was eternal. You found yourself in ashes, but discovered you were made of light. The ancient promise still holds true. It is written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 48, verse 10. Behold, I have refined you, but not with silver. I have chosen you in the furnace of affliction. That single verse carries the entire truth of your story, chosen, not despite affliction, but through it. God didn't wait for you to be perfect before choosing you. He chose you, then used the fire to perfect you. Refinement is not glamorous. It's not the stage of applause or visibility. It's the hidden place of process, where tears fall like molten metal and faith is tested in silence. Yet it's there in obscurity, in waiting, in wrestling that your purity was formed. You came out of that season carrying something no sermon could teach: resilience born of revelation. You've discovered that not everything lost in the fire was meant to survive it. Some relationships, habits, and even versions of yourself had to burn away so that truth could breathe. The fire revealed what was real, what would remain when everything else fell apart. You now know who you are, not by what stayed, but by what you survived. And the beautiful mystery of it all is that the fire didn't change your purpose, it clarified it. You no longer chase applause. You seek authenticity. You no longer fear storms. You understand they reveal strength. The fire has made you fearless because once you've walked through what should have destroyed you, there's nothing left to fear. Chosen one, you carry the scent of smoke but the shine of gold. You've walked through refining, and now your presence carries weight, not worldly weight, but spiritual substance. You've become a safe place for others walking through their own fire because you understand the language of pain and the grammar of grace. You no longer speak theory, you speak from survival. The refining fire was God's way of proving what He already knew, that you were worth the shaping. Every spark that touched your life carried divine intention. Every burn was calculated not to kill, but to kindle the unshakable faith within you. So now, when you look back on what you endured, you no longer see destruction, you see design. The flames didn't erase you, they revealed you. You are no longer the person who entered the fire trembling. You are the one who emerged glowing. Heaven looks at you and calls you what you've always been: refined, radiant, and ready for glory. Chosen one. The moment the refining fire released you, Heaven placed something new upon your shoulders, a mantle. It wasn't stitched with fabric or embroidered with gold, but woven from obedience, humility, and trust. This was not a garment for display, but a covering for purpose. You didn't earn it by effort, it was bestowed through endurance. The mantle of influence now rests on you, glowing quietly, waiting to be used not for fame, but for faith. This mantle is weighty because it carries heaven's agenda. Influence in the kingdom is never about recognition, it is about responsibility. God doesn't anoint you to be noticed, He anoints you to serve. And yet, true influence always follows those who do not chase it. That's why He allowed you to walk through hidden seasons, so when the mantle arrived, you would wear it with reverence, not pride. When the mantle first touched your life, it didn't feel like honor, it felt like pressure. You wondered, why do I suddenly feel the weight of so many? That weight was compassion being born inside you. Heaven was giving you eyes to see pain in others that you once ignored. You began to sense the unseen battles behind people's smiles. You began to speak differently, love differently, pray differently. That's what mantles do. They enlarge the heart before they expand the platform. The story of Esther echoes here. She didn't seek influence, she was prepared for it. Her beauty wasn't her power, her obedience was. She carried the courage to stand in her generation's gap, to speak when silence was safer. Her mantle wasn't a royal robe, it was the invisible favor that turned destiny. You, too, carry such favor now, not to be elevated above others, but to lift others toward light. The scripture reminds us in the book of Esther, chapter 4, verse 14. And who knows whether you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this? That question is heaven's whisper to your spirit. You didn't appear in this moment of history by chance. Every wound, every waiting season, every whisper of surrender has prepared you for now, this exact intersection of purpose and time. Your mantle is not an ornament of prestige. It is a declaration of readiness. It signals to heaven and to the earth that you are willing to carry divine assignments, even when they require courage that shakes your bones. That's what separates the chosen from the called: willingness. Heaven can entrust you with influence because it knows you won't trade integrity for attention. And yet, this mantle will attract both favor and opposition. The same light that draws the hungry also exposes the deceitful. There will be those who misunderstand you, who question your motives, who cannot comprehend the purity behind your pursuit. Do not defend yourself. The mantle speaks louder than words. The fruit of your obedience will testify long after explanations fade. Chosen one. This influence will not always look grand. Sometimes it will show up in quiet places, in the way you comfort a stranger, in the way you speak peace to the broken, in the way your presence changes a room. That is the true reach of your mantle, to shift hearts before you ever touch a stage. And yes, there will be days when you'll feel unqualified. You'll think, surely there are others more capable. But God doesn't look for capability. He looks for availability. You are not chosen because of perfection. You are chosen because of posture. You said yes, even when you were trembling, and heaven said, that's the one. This mantle will stretch you. It will call you into places you never planned to go. It will require you to speak when silence feels safer, to act when waiting feels wiser, to love when rejection stings deepest. But every act of obedience will expand the reach of heaven through your life. Remember, chosen one. The mantle is not the reward, it's the assignment. It's the visible proof of invisible preparation. It's heaven's way of saying, I trust you with my heart. And when that realization settles in, influence stops feeling like pressure and starts feeling like privilege. You are walking beneath a holy covering now, one that carries weight, warmth, and wonder, and it was designed perfectly for you. Chosen one. Heaven never chooses one without preparing many. You were never called to walk alone. Your light is a signal for others who are waking up. Every step you've taken through fire, through surrender, through refining, has been a trail of sparks lighting the path for those still wandering. You've become a messenger for a movement, a living invitation for others to rise. This is the season where heaven's call echoes through you like thunder wrapped in tenderness. You can feel it, can't you? The tug in your spirit that says, it's not just about me anymore. That is God awakening the army of the surrendered, a generation not built on fame, but on fire. You are a forerunner, a voice crying out in the wilderness of distraction, calling others back to the altar of obedience. Every chosen one carries a trumpet in their spirit. Yours may not sound like preaching from a pulpit. It may sound like compassion in chaos, courage in silence, or kindness in a cruel world. That's how revival begins. Not with noise, but with consistency. Not with crowds, but with conviction. But with... The Spirit whispers this ancient truth through the first letter of Peter, chapter 2, verse 9. But you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for his own possession, that you may proclaim the excellencies of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. That verse is not history, it's prophecy being fulfilled through you right now. You were not rescued just to rest. You were redeemed to reach. The light that once saved you now shines through you. You are the testimony that God still transforms ashes into ambassadors. Your life has become a living sermon, speaking to others who think they've gone too far. You carry the evidence that mercy still finds its way into broken places. Look around you, there are others, quiet and unseen, who are feeling the same awakening. They are watching your journey, reading your words, hearing your story, and finding courage to take their own first step. That's what makes you dangerous to darkness. Your obedience multiplies. Heaven's flame in you becomes an inferno in others. But remember, influence is not about speaking louder, it's about shining brighter. The world doesn't need more noise, it needs more light. Every time you love those who don't deserve it. Every time you forgive when you could fight. Every time you stay faithful when it would be easier to quit. Heaven amplifies your impact. You are leading people without even realizing it. Chosen one, this is your moment to stand boldly. The time of silent faith is over. Heaven is raising a remnant and you are part of it. The pain that shaped you was never wasted. It was training for leadership. You are the proof that scars can still shine. You are heaven's reminder that broken people still carry sacred assignments. Now, if this word has found its way into your heart, take a moment to let it echo. Tap like if it resonates deep within, not as a routine, but as an act of agreement saying, I'm part of this generation that will not hide its light. Share this message so another wandering heart might remember who they are, so they too might wake up to the call of destiny. Subscribe if your spirit knows that these words are more than mere text. They're reminders, gentle embers to keep your faith burning when the world grows cold. And then, comment below, in your own voice. Share what this season feels like, what you're learning, or even just one word that captures your surrender. Your words may become the seed of someone else's breakthrough. Because this isn't about one voice, it's about a chorus of the chosen. Heaven isn't calling you to stand above others, but among them, to remind a weary world that light still lives here. The movement has begun and your obedience keeps the flame alive. Chosen one. There is a sound that never stops echoing in eternity, the record of your yes. Heaven keeps it not as a moment past, but as a living song, still resounding in the courts of glory. Every time you obey, every time you forgive, every time you believe again when you have every reason not to, that sound grows stronger. It's your melody of surrender, woven into heaven's own worship. When you said yes to God's plan, heaven didn't archive it and move on, it preserved it as prophecy. Your obedience became a seed that continues to bloom beyond your sight. The angels remember that day as clearly as if it were now. And every time your faith wavers, heaven replays that moment not to remind you of your weakness, but to remind you of your victory. You are living proof that divine alignment has an echo. Each step of faith you take reverberates across time, touching people you may never meet. Somewhere, someone will find courage because of the sound of your endurance. Heaven's record of your surrender isn't just about you, it's about what your obedience awakens in others. This is why the unseen world takes you seriously. The forces of darkness remember that moment too. They heard your name announced in heaven's courts and realized their claim over you was broken. Since that day, every time you choose righteousness over rebellion, your yes sounds like thunder in the spirit. You may whisper your prayers, but they echo like war cries through eternity. And even now, as you walk through quiet seasons, heaven's record still plays. It reminds creation of God's faithfulness through you. When you worship, your sound joins the eternal chorus of all who have ever chosen light over darkness. You are part of that symphony not as a background note, but as a distinct voice, carrying the tone of one who overcame. The scripture affirms this mystery in the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 11. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. Your life, your surrender, your story, they are all part of that testimony. Heaven records it, not for memory, but for momentum. Each testimony strengthens another heart to keep believing. Think of it like this: every act of faith sends ripples through eternity. Your worship doesn't end when the song does, it keeps moving, shaping atmospheres, breaking chains, planting seeds. Your yes still carries life long after it leaves your lips. That's why even the smallest obedience matters. Heaven wastes nothing. It amplifies everything. There are people you'll never meet who will walk freer because you stayed faithful. There are prayers you've forgotten that heaven still waters. There are moments you thought no one saw, yet they were recorded in divine ink. The record of your surrender will outlive you, echoing through generations as a living prophecy of grace. This is what it means to be eternal, not just to exist forever, but to leave behind a resonance that keeps calling others higher. Your life has become a message that heaven still broadcasts daily. You may not hear it, but all of creation recognizes it. The earth remembers your yes. The skies that witnessed your tears now sing with your triumph. Chosen one, your surrender didn't just change your story, it became part of heaven's story. When the books are opened in eternity, your name will not appear as one who merely survived, but as one who responded. The echo of your obedience will still be ringing, harmonizing with the chorus of all who said yes and never took it back. And though the world may forget, heaven never does. The record remains clear, pure, and alive, your surrender sealed in sound, your faith immortalized in light. You have become an echo of eternity itself, a melody that never fades, a reminder that obedience once given becomes everlasting. The sound of heaven still carries your name, the music still plays, and as long as you walk this earth, that divine resonance follows you, proof that one surrendered heart can make the heavens sing forever. Chosen one, when all the journeys are complete and the dust of striving settles, there will come a holy stillness, the moment when you finally stand before the one you've loved from afar. That will be the day of unveiling, when every unseen sacrifice, every silent prayer, every hidden act of obedience will shimmer with eternal meaning. Heaven will not speak in thunder then, it will sing. For the one who never took their surrender back has returned home crowned with glory. You've walked through valleys where faith trembled and climbed mountains where vision burned bright. You've known both silence and song, loneliness and laughter. But through it all, you kept your gaze fixed on the unseen. Every step, even the faltering ones, carried purpose. The path was never meant to be perfect, only persistent. Heaven never asked you to be flawless, only faithful. When that final dawn breaks beyond time, the veil will lift and you will see what your obedience built. You will see the faces of those who found light because you refused to let yours go out. You will see prayers answered in generations you never met. You will realize that your tears were not wasted. They became seeds in heaven's garden. The harvest of your surrender will stretch far beyond the years you walked the earth. And in that moment, when eternity opens its arms, you'll understand why it all had to happen: the waiting, the refining, the breaking, the rebuilding. Every storm was carving strength. Every delay was deepening roots. Every battle was teaching heaven's rhythm to your heart. What felt like loss was really gain hidden in disguise. Glory disguised as grief. You'll hear your name spoken in tones you've never imagined, not with judgment, but with joy. The voice of God Himself, warm as sunrise, will say, "Well done." No award, no title, no earthly crown will compare to that sound. It will echo through you like the very breath that first gave you life. And you will realize that your whole journey was leading to this: not applause, not achievement, but communion. As the Apostle Paul once wrote in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 8, "Henceforth there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day, and not to me only, but unto all them also that love His appearing." That crown is not for the perfect, it's for the faithful, for those who kept believing when belief cost everything. The crown will not be heavy on your head. It will feel familiar, like something you were always meant to wear. It is the outward symbol of an inward truth that heaven finishes what it starts, and love never forgets its own. You will wear that crown not as a trophy, but as testimony that grace was greater, that mercy was enough, that surrender truly leads to glory. Around you, the great cloud of witnesses will rise to their feet. Prophets, saints, and redeemed souls will recognize the light upon you, the same light they carried in their own time, and you will join their song, not as a stranger, but as family. The music of heaven will no longer feel distant. It will pulse through your spirit like heartbeat and breath. You will look back one last time and see your entire story written in gold across eternity, every fall followed by grace, every battle crowned with victory. You'll see that the fire never burned to destroy, only to reveal. You'll see that nothing was random, nothing wasted. Every yes you gave became a star in heaven's sky, marking your journey home. Chosen one. Eternity is not waiting to begin, it's already unfolding within you. Each day of surrender has been a rehearsal for forever, and when time dissolves into light, you will simply step from faith into sight, from promise into fulfillment, from worship into face-to-face wonder. Then all of heaven will rise once more. The same angels who rejoiced when you first surrendered will rejoice again. They will shout, "The faithful one has finished the race." And you, radiant and unafraid, will bow before the throne, not empty-handed, but carrying a life poured out in love. You will place your crown at his feet, and in that eternal silence between heartbeats, you'll finally understand this was never about endurance alone. It was about love, perfected through surrender, and heaven will celebrate again forever. Chosen one. If these words have journeyed with you from the trembling of surrender to the triumph of eternity, take this final breath with reverence. You've walked through every fire, every whisper, every divine interruption, and you are still standing. Heaven has watched you grow from wounded to warrior, from wanderer to witness. The story has come full circle, but the calling continues. The same light that once found you now burns within you, asking only one thing to be shared. So before this message closes, pause for a heartbeat. Let gratitude fill the spaces that once held fear. Think of how far you've come, how every battle became a bridge, how every tear became a seed. You've become the living echo of grace, the melody heaven still hums. And now, this message, this journey belongs not only to you, but to the next soul searching for light. If this word stirred something sacred in you, let that fire speak. Tap like not for applause, but as an act of remembrance, saying, "I was here. I received this light." Share this message so that someone in silence might feel seen again. You never know whose breaking point might turn into breakthrough because you pressed one small button. And comment below your reflection, your gratitude, even a single word. Your voice may become the confirmation another heart is praying for. Finally, subscribe not to follow noise, but to stay near the river of truth that keeps your spirit nourished. This space isn't a platform, it's a sanctuary for the chosen, a gathering of souls who still believe in miracles. Keep your lamp burning. Chosen one, the story continues through you.